I got that and it's got that wall. Top is high, fade is bald. If you want it, you can get it. All you gotta do is call. Is you trying to get faded, tapered? Wanna get fresh for the night? Call the homeboy Seti when you're ready. And he gon' have you looking alright. East coast to the world, scream it out.
Seti the Barber,
Yeah.
Seti the Barber,
Fresh fade with the line, good looking out.
Seti the Barber,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Seti the Barber,
YouTube to the gram, scream it out.
Seti the Barber, Seti the Barber,
I look so fly, I be like,
Seti the Barber,
yeah.
Seti the Barber.
Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your guy Seti the Barber, back with another tutorial for y'all. Today we're going to do the skin fade with the waves on the top. So let's jump into it. So today's cut, we're going to start it off by setting in your first guideline, which you're going to go from the point on one side all the way across to the other. Keep it nice and consistent. Lots of passes over the area to make it nice and even. So we're dropping the back down just a bit so it flows with the shape of his head. So once you're finished with your initial guideline, grab your trimmers and remove all the hair from the bottom. So you're not going up to your initial guideline, you're stopping just underneath it. Reason being, that initial guideline is a little longer than you removing the hair with the trimmer. So you want a light flick at the top of your bald line. It's going to help you transition into that clipper close level. So here, I'm going to take off the bottom stubble by turning the clipper around and running over his head with this, instead of using the shaver. Reason being, the shaver causes some people ingrowns. So you want to ask your client first if they're able to use it. If not, try this technique. Be gentle when using this technique. These clippers are extremely sharp and they're zero gap, so let the clipper do the work. Don't press too hard. So we're going to set our next guideline in with the clippers open. We're going to go up about an inch, 3/4 of an inch or so, and make lots of passes over the area so it's even. Just follow the shape of your initial guideline from one side all the way to the other. So to blend out the bottom line here, we're going to close our clippers and just open them slightly and just stay on your line. Lots of passes over the line and just take your time from one side to the other. The higher up you move towards that top line, the more you have to open your lever. just a bit more as I move higher towards that top line. So here I'm doing some detail work using the corner of my blade. The reason you use the corner of your blade is so you don't push the line up. You don't want to create light spots as you move up higher towards that top line. So now we're on to our next guideline, the one guard open. Go up about an inch and work from one side all the way to the other. Again, make sure you make lots of passes over the area so it's even. So once you finish that guideline, put on your half guard, open it all the way, and retrace what you just did, stopping a little underneath that top line. So I'm going to close the lever slightly as I move down towards that bottom line. Once you reach that bottom line, make sure your lever is closed completely. If that line doesn't come out after that, take the guard off and open your clippers and hit the line with that. Trust the process, guys. If that line's not coming out, you have to go lower. Just make sure you're using the corner cutting technique when you do. So here I put on the one guard open again, and I'm retracing that top line, just making sure it's nice and even all the way across. If you find you're still left with a line from your half guard open to your one guard open, just slowly close your one guard until you find that line. So to do his waves, I have on a 2 guard. Make sure you brush the hair so it's laying in its natural position before you start smoothing out the top. Be careful when you get to the front of his line to make sure he doesn't have any calyx, which he does here. You don't want to hit those going the wrong direction because it will lower the front of his hair too much. Lots of passes over it, guys. You want that nice and even. So once you get to the crown, you want to brush the hair so it's laying in a natural position before you cut it. Make sure when you're doing waves that you're not cutting it too low. A wave is just a curl that's laid flat, so you don't want to hit it with a guard that's going to knock the wave down too low so that it's just completely flat. So once you get his wave sitting flat, you want to freehand the top, cut off anything that's sticking up. So I have my blade open just slightly, and I'm just taking my time. I'm resting my pinky finger on his head to keep my hand straight and steady, and I'm just knocking off anything I see sticking up. So now I grab my 2-guard open and I'm running over the parietal ridge area to soften that line to help transition the sides into the top. Lots of passes over the area. You want to make sure that's a true 2 open. After you finish with your 2-guard open, put on your 1.5 guard, open that, and go up just underneath where you left off. You should start to see that line getting lighter and lighter. As you move down closer to the bottom of your line, you want to close the lever so that eventually your lever is completely closed and that line's faded out. So I just close the lever a bit and I'm moving down closer to the bottom of that line. So I noticed that the line wasn't completely out, so I bumped down to my previous guard, which is the 1, and I opened it and then slowly closed it till I can hear that hair crunch on that line. If you're ever having problems getting the lines out or finding the levels of lines, always start with your guard open and close it till you hear that hair cut. So now I'm smoothing out this area to help transition the top into the sides. I have on my 1 guard open. If you're liking how this cut's looking so far, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also follow me on IG. I have lots of tips and tricks on there and some short videos that I put up almost daily. Steady the Barber on IG. So as you can see right here, he has a light spot to where his hair goes a few different directions. So what you want to do is just lower the hair around it so that it blends in. So when you're taking the hair down around the light spot, just pay attention to the direction that the hair is growing so you don't cut off too much. Just work the dark spots with the corner of your blade. Start open with your guard and slowly close it until it starts to blend in. So I just pointed out a line that I see. So I'm just using the corner cutting technique with my 1.5 guard open, and then slowly close it till I found a line. And then I'm just knocking it out. So when I flip my clipper around like this, it's to smooth out any areas that have hair sticking up. It's going to make your transition seamless. Make sure when you're doing this, you're going in the direction the hair is growing, so you don't take it down too light. So in the front of his hair, he has a few cowlicks. So what I'm doing is just lowering the hair down around them so I can help them blend in a little better. When I do a lineup, I like to start in the middle and work to the left and then to the right. You don't want to push it back, you want to keep it as natural as possible. As you can see, he has light spots in his corners a bit, so you don't want to push his line back to make that line sharper. Still keep it natural, you can just add some enhancements to sharpen that line up. So you don't want to push his sides over too far to make his forehead look wide. You want to pick a spot on his eyebrow and match it on the other side. Remember, make it as natural as possible, so when the line grows back, there's not a bunch of stubble. So here I'm looking at it from a distance, and I'm just making some adjustments to make sure that line's straight and his sides are even. A little tip for you when you're doing the lineup is to look at it in the mirror so you can see it from a distance. That way you'll know if it's straight or if you have it slanting a bit. So here I'm spraying a semi-permanent hair dye onto his lineup. What this will do is fill in the light spots and make his line look a lot sharper. This will usually last 2 to 3 days, but you can get more out of it if you wear a wave cap and try not to get it wet when you're showering. So when you're blading, guys, you want a nice stretch on the skin. You want that skin firm when you're sliding that blade across. Take your time. Don't use the whole blade at once. Use the heel or the toe and just work from one side to the other. If y'all have any questions on any of the steps that I did here, hit me in the comments and I'll make sure I get back to you. So for the facial hair, he's taking his sides off. He just wants the goatee. So I'm using the Babyliss Silver Pro FXs. This one has the graphite blade for the deep tooth. The difference between this and the gold one is the blades. So the deep tooth blade is better for coarse hair. As you can see, coming off here, no problem at all. He can't use a shaver or a blade on his face, so this would be the lowest that we're going. So we're knocking down that mustache with the clippers open. We're going to leave the length on the chin, and we're just going to shape that up freehand. Now we're just going to do some detailing. What I'm doing is running over the top, knocking down some of the pieces we see sticking up. And then we'll hit the sides with the corner cutting technique to lighten up a few dark spots. If y'all want to know anything specific, not only in this haircut, but anything that's on your minds, hit me in the comments and I'll make a video to help y'all out. amount of time you guys spend detailing is what's going to separate you and what's going to bring your fade to the next level. So get through your steps quickly and spend more time on the detail. Take a look at your cut through the mirror. Take a step back so you can see it from a distance. It's going to point out any little thing that you see, and then go in there with the corner cutting technique and knock those lines out. So the cut's pretty much coming to an end. Let me know what y'all think. Hit me in the comments. Let me know if you guys do anything differently. This is it. Final spin and check them out. Skid fade, waves on the top, shaved the face off, left the goatee, added some enhancements. Steady the Barber, guys. Follow me on IG. Deuces.